Hello and welcome. Today we've got these 7 Milwaukee M18 batteries that I've got from a man called Sean in Cork. He sent them all the way up to the doctor's surgery here for my consideration. What I'm going to show you today is how to test and diagnose all these batteries. I've got them numbered from 1 to 7 and we can keep a chart. We've done a video like this before, but you know, you can't do enough videos like this. First test of all is just putting it on a charger to see if it goes. And we'll go through that first. No, it's giving us Milwaukee Christmas, so it's faulty. And number 2 is, what is it? I haven't tried these yet, so no. So far so bad. So far so suboptimal. That one might charge. That one actually might charge. So number 4 is a maybe. So we'll try that. Number 5 is a maybe. It mightn't charge, but it's not showing the fault light. So 4 and 5 are maybes. No, that's definitely showing a fault. If it flashes fast like that, that's bad. So number 6 is definitely bad. And it's getting the Milwaukee Christmas again. So we think 4 and 5 are sort of showing that they might charge, but that doesn't tell us everything. The next test is going to be the volt test. So the next part we have to do to try and ascertain what's going on with these batteries is do the voltage check. I have adapted the probes in this multimeter for this job, and you put it to DC voltage, and that's showing 15.6. so there is a fault within that battery. It is a chargeable voltage, but it brought on the Christmas lights. So 15.2. I have written the voltage in there, and we'll move on to the next one. Same again. 14.9. so that is overchargeable voltage as well, and it's not charging. Number 3. So to the voltage. A little bit low for charging. Could be a low volt issue. We'll not know till we find out, till we actually get in there. This voltage only tells you so much. This test I'm doing now, it only tells you if the voltage is actually above chargeable voltage. But it's good to do it first. These 2 looked like they were going to charge on the charger, but we can determine if that was a red herring. It might not be. So that's overchargeable voltage, so we're going to have to try these on the chargers before we do anything. We'll say 13.5. that's above chargeable voltage, and 5, definitely not. There's no point in even charging that, because we'll have to bring up the voltage before we do it. 8.6 is too low. Anything over 12.5, if the cells are equal, will charge. So we're going to have to try 4 on the charger, and yeah, and we'll go from there. So I'll put on the charge at the side here and move on to the, we'll check the last 2, which is 6 and 7. .4, way too low. .9, also way too low. So we learned from that volt check that we might actually have one that there's nothing wrong with, number 4, but time will tell. We'll have to leave it on for a wee while just to see. There still could be an internal fault, but everything else is a problem. We'll start off logically with number 1, and what we have to do is open the battery, look for sort of breaks anywhere in the nickel strip, look for test the cells individually. The banks of cells, they come in little pairs, but I'll show you when I get it open. First of all, there's 4 screws to get out of this, and they're little T10s there. I'll show you them. They're actually TX10. They've got this little bit in the middle, so you want the bits with the little hollow point on it. I'll try and put a link in the description to some ones that I use here. I use a couple of different brands, and they're reasonable quality for the money, but you know, when you're doing this all the time, nothing lasts. Everything just sort of gives up eventually. Everything goes up the ghost. So when you get that open, you got to just check the top to see if this is giving way. These two things here, which they haven't. There's no obvious breaks there. That might be okay. We're dealing with something that's sitting at 15.2 volts, which might mean that there's a couple of cells they've given up. There's a bit of corrosion here, which sometimes can be telling, sometimes not. Checking the side, these are all connected. Sometimes these little spot welds can let go as well. So what we're doing here is we're putting this other multimeter. I chose this one because it's got a bigger display, and these are in pairs. These are in series. These two are in parallel, connected in series to the rest, which are also, they're in parallel with each other, the pairs. So that's how you achieve your voltage. That's a whole video all its own. So you go from, this is the positive end, so you're putting the red probe on here, and that first one's 3.9, and you have to reverse them because that's the negative end there, because it goes from positive negative, positive negative, positive negative, positive negative, positive. That's the positive end there. So we'll go this second one, and it's reading 3.92, which is equal, and reverse them again. Do the third one. You can do this from the top as well. I'm going to show you how to do that too. 3.66, so that's a little bit lower, good bit lower. That's 0.3 of a volt, and that is significant. That is significant. Again, do the next one, and that one is minus 0.5. And a lot of people in the comments in my videos say you don't have to reverse the probes. You don't have to reverse the probes. So you can go down like this here, but sometimes you get a negative voltage when you have the probes on the wrong way around. But putting them on the correct way around, positive here and negative here, that tells you what's wrong with this. This cell bank has reverse polarity. It's showing a minus voltage, so they've deactivated and they're really taken away from the whole power of the pack, you know. And the last one, 3 point, see, I'll try and get a good connection there, 3.88. So what we have is we have a faulty bank of cells, and we have cell imbalance across the pack. So 3.66, that's low. That middle bank is low, and this bank has failed completely. As long as you've ascertained that there's no breaks or disconnects anywhere in the battery like I have earlier, you can measure this from the top even without taking it out of the box, but you have to take it out of the box to look at the sides. But if you just aren't confident and want to take the top off and measure your cell banks, you could do it this way. And I'm reversing the probes just to show you. That's the low bank. And then the next bank is the faulty one. Now we can go again here, and nothing's okay. I'm reversing the probes just to show you, and you can ascertain, if you don't want to take it out of the pack, where your plus and minus is there. The plus and minus is on the top, so this is the plus one that's going to here, so you can go plus minus, you know. So that's how you can do that. So back to this battery. The middle bank's away, or the middle bank's actually 3.66, and this one is kaput, so we're going to have to mark that. So middle bank low, plus 2 bad cells. And for later on we'll just mark that as the bad bank there. Makes it easier when we're fixing it. So that's number 1. Moving swiftly on, I have the screws out of number 2 now. As you remember, it's 14.9 volts and it wasn't charging at all. Again, looks nice and clean inside, connections look not bad. Be careful doing this here, you don't want to cross connect anything. Make sure those connections look good there. Be careful poking in, because you can burn out connections and fry circuit boards and do all sorts of crazy stuff. I'll not tell you how I found that out. And we're doing the same, we're checking the connections like on the side, but they look alright, you know. Now you don't have to go side by side along each cell, you can go from the top like I showed you in the last one. Remember, this is the positive, this is the negative, the first bank. 3.77 healthy voltage, 3.77 the second bank, 3.77 the third bank, 3.77 the fourth bank, and we have 0.07, 007. Right, the last bank of cells has failed. So again, we'll do the same process. We'll mark it with a black marker, so we know which ones it is. And that's a simple one for the chart. It's quite simply 2 bad cells, and we've marked where they are. So we put number 2 together and get on to number 3. Right, number 3, I'll get the screws out and get the top off now. Here we are. Get the top right off. This was 11.9, so it was a little bit low, and it doesn't look good inside. See that green tinge all over the terminals of the board? That means this has suffered water ingress. We never like to see that. We never like to see that, but it happens. And a bit of corrosion here and there, but I don't think there's any disconnects. It could be with corrosion, you know. Sometimes corrosion causes a disconnect. There's a little bit of corrosion, then the cell starts to rust, or the nickel starts to rust and gives away, you know. No, it's all good. It's all good there. Right. We will do a volt check again, the same way, by the same means. 3.92. The good news is it's not completely. That's 2 good banks of cells already, so it's not complete waster. 3 good banks of cells. This one's bad. That one's bad. It's 0.48 of a volt. That one's also bad. So there are 2 bad banks in that one. So I'll mark them. And that looks more corroded there, but that one's good. So we're going to have to replace 4 cells in that one. So that's them marked. And updating the chart, we got 4 bad cells. That's 3 back together, so we'll move on to number 4. And if you remember, number 4 has been on the charge, so this will be interesting. It's showing a green light, flashing green light, and it's got the 2 bars. It could be that that's all is achievable with that. We'll do a new volt check with it. It was showing 13.5 if you remember on the previous volt check we did. We're going to just get into it and just see, and then we'll get her open and see what else is going on. It's actually got up to 18 volts. I know you guys out there might say, oh, that's 18 volts, that's fully charged. No, it isn't. 18 volts is not fully charged. These batteries are rated to charge to over 20 volts. They contain, when you see these cells, these banks of cells in parallel charge to about 4.1 volts, roughly speaking. You know, round the 4 volts mark, and you're getting 4 multiplied by 5, so you're getting 20 if it's right. So we're getting a bit of voltage loss. We're getting 2 volts of voltage loss in this battery, and the battery indicator is telling us that. So we'll get it open and see what's going on. There we are. Doesn't look too bad. Looks better than the last one. So where are we getting that voltage loss? I'm willing to guess cell imbalance at one of these banks of cells is significantly lower than the others, and when the charger reads these as 4 volts or whatever, that's telling the charger that it's full and don't charge it anymore. Right, so we'll do a volt check here, starting from positive here. 3.41. 3.79 there, that's high, see that? 3.79, that's higher than the front one, and that's 4.13. This bank in the middle is extremely high. That's full. That's signaling to the charger not to charge it anymore. And this one, 3.43, 3.42. So this has got severe cell imbalance across the board. It's got 3 banks of cells that are 3.43, one that's fully charged, the middle one, and then this one's sort of halfway between this and this. So we need cell balance in that. So I'm going to go to the chart again and just write imbalance. I don't know what that means. And if you want to know how to sort out imbalance, just I have a course, a free course, it's not a paid course, like on M18 battery repair, and I'll put a link in the description and pinned in the comment section to that playlist. And there's a good video showing you how to repair cell imbalance on it. So put this together and move on to what they're at now, number 5 we're going on to. That was a low volt one. Here we are, number 4. We know what's wrong with it now. And number 5, we'll get it open. As you remember, or maybe you won't, it's showing 8.6 volts, which is extremely low. Right, we'll get the top off. The top's well on. It's looking alright at the top so far. So far so good. And again, this is a tight one. Sometimes it can be. That's it. It's right now anyway. And I think we're alright inside here. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good there. And again, the standard volt check down the cells again. Let's see what's wrong with this one. Let's see, that's why you put the probes the right way around. I was getting the minus voltage there, which wasn't right. 1.81, very low. 1.6, very low. 1.65, very low. 1.67, very low. 1.88. Right, the good news is that all the cells have voltage in them, and it's over 1.5, which ain't wild bad, but they're all low. So that just needs voltage recovery. And this is the point where someone in the comment section will watch this and say, stick it onto another battery, and a good battery, and it'll charge up, it'll bring up the voltage. That's true, but I don't recommend that for a couple of reasons. You do put the cells under severe pressure doing that. You overheat the cells, and the chance of you getting a battery that'll be usable, you lower the chance of it. It's not impossible, but you do lower the chance of it. So I would recommend another means of voltage recovery using a LiPro balance charger, LiPro B6. This can bring up the cells nice and gently without overheating them. And there's no doubt when a battery gets that low, you will get some performance loss from before that happened, but you minimize the performance loss with the B6 charger. So I'm going to write what's wrong with that now. I'm going to write cells good, low volt. So I'll know what that means. That means I have to recover the voltage with the B6. So we're going to move on to number, must be number 6 now. Here we are, we'll get it open. Number 6. There could be anything wrong with this. The low voltage doesn't tell us very much, because this is actually, if you remember from the chart, it's 3.4 volts. We're going into 2 very low volt batteries. That may be basically goners that we'll have to rebuild them or something. The connections at the top look pretty good. The connections at the side look pretty good. And there's no real corrosion. It hasn't had some of the tough life that the other one had that we seen earlier. There's no greenness or no corrosion. A little bit of dirt in the board there, but anyway, we'll do a voltage check now. Right, remember to put the meter to DC voltage. Any meter does, see DC voltage, and you're going 0.7 of a volt. 0.7 of a volt, 0.6 of a volt, 0.7 of a volt, 0.7 of a volt. Same as the last one. Same and not the same. All the cells have some voltage in them. They're all fairly equal. So it is a candidate for voltage recovery. The thing about it, if you do recover a battery from that low, there will be diminished performance, and I might actually do a separate video on that sometime. I have a load tester that I can test how many amp hours we're getting and how many watt hours we're getting. The watt hours of this is probably about 90 watt hours if it's new, so we can test that. We'll just say cells very low, it's low volt, so that tells me this is a better prospect than this, but the procedure is the same with the B6. So we'll move on to the last one now. So here we are, the last one, number 7, and if you remember, 3.9 volts it was showing. So we'll get the lid off and show you what's going on inside. Let's go one of these different colour boards, but that's not a bad thing. Doesn't really matter. And we'll just do a quick visual check again for brakes, but I don't think there's going to be brakes. I don't think that's the issue. No bad spot welds. The factory ones can let go. Any spot weld can let go. I think that's why they've started to laser weld these forged batteries, you know, with the tabless cells. The new ones, the newer ones than these, because they don't want them to let go. Right, quick volt check from one side to the other, just to see. And we're showing nothing on that front bank. Nothing. Unless nothing's no good. 1.19, very low, but still there. 1.2, low but there. 1 volt. And 0.6 of a volt. So we have one completely failed cell pack in the end, cell bank in the end. These two are failed. The rest of them are very low. So we're going to mark that one in the front so we can tell that it's gone just when we open it. So we're going to go 1, just low volt, 4 banks, 2 dead cells. Yeah. So we could probably do some kind of suboptimal repair in that. We could put in a couple of cells and bring the voltage up. It would take a wee bit of time. We will have a lower performing battery, but we might have something that works and ends up not being in landfill. We might do something for the guy that owns it. So there we are, that's a 7, the magnificent, or the not so magnificent 7, and we can see what's wrong with them. First one, middle bank low and 2 bad cells. Second one, 2 bad cells. 3, it's got 4 bad cells, that's pretty bad. 4's on balance. See, it did take a suboptimal charge there. It's only got up to 18 volts where it should be 20. 6 is cells very low. 5 is low volts as well. So 6 and 5 have the same complaint. I'll put them backwards just to confuse you, just to confuse myself. So they're low but probably recoverable, could be alright. They're very low, are recoverable, but you'll get very much diminished performance. And 5 is very low volt. Their four banks are very low, and there's 2 dead cells in the end. So I hope that helps you. That video was geared towards showing you how to test your batteries. I chose these at random because I got these 7 in together, and I thought if I went through them I'd get different types of faults, and it would help you understand how these work and how to test them and how to understand how to fix them. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and check out my channel for all my other videos.